Alors, je vous présente à ma droite et à votre gauche le metteur en scène du film, Jerzy Skolimowski. Michael Linden, vous avez vu dans le film, Anouk Aimé et Michael York. Alors, voulez-vous vous asseoir et vous arrêter de prendre des photos maintenant? Non, maintenant, c'est vous aussi, monsieur. Oui, c'est terminé. Voilà, c'est terminé. Alors, tout le monde a son micro? Bien. Alors, maintenant, aux journalistes de poser des questions. It's now for you to ask any questions you may have. Wait, start. And wait for the microphone to come to you, otherwise it won't be able to be translated on the earphones. Where are the microphones, and who's got the first question? Qui a un microphone? Who's got a microphone? Ah bon? Alors, qui? C'est à qui? Okay, first question. The microphone lady is here, and there's one there. A red one and a green one. Il y a un microphone rouge baladeur et un microphone vert baladeur. Alors, qui va poser la première question? Ah, voilà une dame là en jaune. Voilà, madame, allez-y.
The game of football, that is European football, seems to play a very important part in the film. And I'm not really clear at the moment what part it plays. And I would like to ask Jerzy Skolimowski and also Michael Linden if the film and in what way the film is structured according to the game of football.
I was aware of the question all the time. I believe football, sport, usually represents something more than only the physical activity. There is something also of the mind in it. I guess that the scenes of soccer first represents quite well what is the conflict between a father and son. You know, the way they crush, the way they are playing together, but in a way against each other. That on the one level. On the other, when we go into international football, where Poland is one of the best teams in the world, as you know, it's one of those Polish activities which is noticed by the world, and therefore it could go quite nicely into metaphorical level when we see this final fantasy game, when the commentator says, so Poland once again surprised the world, who is going to teach them the lesson this time? And this time is the whole world who is going to teach the lesson to Poles, what actually had happened in our recent history. The fact that Poland is now not any longer the subject of the front pages of the newspaper shows quite a lot. You know, the world is perhaps slightly fed up with Poland, or bored, or whatever.
Thank you. Next.
I would like.
Oh, well, another one. Okay, greedy.
I would like to ask Michael Linden a question. As a newcomer, how does he feel that he is coping with success at Cannes, and what, as both an actor and this co-screenwriter, does he hope to gain from that attention?
It's my first film, so I don't know. I don't know much about career and my success. I just hope I'll be able to do another picture or write some scripts. I don't know.
Bravo.
How do you
Non, attendez le microphone, s'il vous plaît. Ça arrive, ça arrive, ça arrive. Ça n'arrive pas?
What?
No, voilà.
But can he also say, how do you feel about dealing with the success and all the attention that you're getting here? Is it like you expected it to be? How does
Well,
it make you feel?
It's not a success yet. No one cares about it. So I just get away without any attention. I was aware that I might have some problems with photographers, but no one approached me yet, so I'm quite happy.
I guess he's more concerned with his O-level exams, which he was only allowed to be here for three days, and he has to go back to school and and pass the exams. So
The exams are in June, right?
no, right now
May? Oh.
he's in the middle
Oh, my
of it.
goodness. Next. Yes, sir.
Pardon, messieurs, dames, je parle 5 langues, mais on ne parle français et anglais. Peut-être Jerzy traduit, je parle polonais. Dziękuję Ci bardzo za wspaniały film, który zrobiłeś i zabrałeś głos w sprawach polskich.
Translate
Anybody
the
else
question.
can translate it?
No, not me.
I'm slightly embarrassed
You.
because
Anu. No?
I was sort of prized for taking the floor on a Polish issue.
Chociaż nie ma tutaj reprezentacji polskiej, ale Polacy są bardzo obecni na tym festiwalu. Twój film, Marek Kaniewska z Australii, Silver City, i film z Irlandii, operator Jerzy Zieliński, można wiele osób wymieniać.
There is no official Polish entry for the festival, but the Polish presence is quite significant in this festival.
The question was about the Polish director of another country, not Silver City. It was a British film with a Polish-born director. I think that's what, right?
No, he just mentioned several Polish names who are sort of present in the festival.
Także poza ludźmi, którzy kochają kino i Twoją twórczość, nie ma tu obecnych krytyków polskich, którzy tu są na festiwalu.
And there are some people from Poland who love the films, but there are not too many Polish film critics here.
Okay.
But
Dziękuję Ci bardzo za ten wspaniały film. Dziękuję Michaelowi za wspaniałą rolę Polaka w tym filmie i pozostałym osobom, które grały.
So also Michael York is prized for portraying a Pole on a very right way. So I understand there's no question, it's just a little Polish scene, if you excuse us.
Okay. Now that we're finished with our Polish scene, yes, remember, just a second, wait for the, mademoiselle, il y a une dame devant là. Madame. Il y a une mademoiselle. Celle-là.
Skolimowski, last year I talked to you in Amsterdam about your movie Moonlighting. You told me at that moment that if you could, you would like to return to Poland. I think I understand well then. Now you have made another movie and your son is playing the part of a boy who returns to Poland. How did you prepare him psychologically for this part? Because I think the most of his years he lived in London. Does he know what it feels to be a real Polish boy who wants to return back?
Well, this part of the film is really his own story. He had written it, and that was probably his very real psychological need. He wanted to go to Poland at that time, at least. So I was really just shooting what he had written. Was that, Michael?
Excuse me, I think you got it wrong, because most of my life I lived in Poland. For only the last 2 years we live in London. So actually I was writing the script feeling Polish, not English.
Did you write it in Polish or in English?
No, I wrote in English, but the words that I didn't know how to put, I just checked in the dictionary.
The question is, would you really like to go back?
Well, I'd love to go back, but I know it's quite dangerous, and it would be a rather careless decision to go back. Then I might have not come back to London.
monsieur. Il y a un monsieur en bas.
I want to ask the director about the film if he really believes that he must go in Poland for making a change.
The question was to the director.
Yes.
Would you like to go back to Poland?
Yes, I would love to go back to Poland. There is a condition set 17 years ago when I made my film called Hands Up, which for 17 years now is the subject of the censorship in Poland. And there is a sort of unwritten agreement between myself and the Polish film industry that when this film would be finally released, which some people believe it would be one day, that would be the moment when I could go back and work there. I would love to make a Polish film sooner or later.
There's a lady in a blue hat in the middle aisle. I don't know who's closer. Yes, the lady in the red microphone's closest.
What I would like to know, Jerzy, is would you like to make a film, other films other than Polish films, about other countries?
Excuse me, I didn't exactly get the question.
And the Moonlighting one was about Polish people. What I would like to ask you, I once saw you on American television, and you said you would like to make a movie about peace. And I wondered if you would like to make other movies in other countries, if you would be amenable to this.
Got it, yeah. Well, this is what I always promised to myself. Next time would be a real proper movie, you know, the well-prepared, well-budgeted film which I could show my professional abilities in my best. And I always run into the same problems. I guess it's kind of Polish disease which takes over, and again and again I'm making those Polish films abroad. But this time I promise I take a break now. I'll do some more conventional movie.
We're lucky enough to have with us today two very great actors, Anouk Aimée and Michael York. Has no one any questions for them? Over there, I think. Là-bas.
Yes, the film, as we've been discussing, is very much to do with a Polish point of view. I was wondering how difficult it was, or if Miss Aimée or Mr. York had any personal feelings in preparing for this part. How did they deal with preparing for a role which is a country they probably don't know very much about?
Okay, ladies first. Anouk?
No, I think
okay,
Michael,
all right.
because Michael has
yeah, well, for me, the challenge was that of an actor, which is the same, which is true of every role, of adopting another personage. And in this case, there were certain means where it was easy, because I was working with a director, and in a certain sense, playing certain aspects of my own director, as you will have observed if you'd seen the film. But from totally from another point of view, from apart from the artistic point of view, I think there is. I was very pleased to do a film that was totally contemporary. The film was put through the camera last night, practically steaming. It was hot. It was just finished. And I think the situation, even as we were filming, there were things that were incorporated. It's a very, very contemporary and very strong statement. And I haven't had the privilege of making very many politically aware films. And I think what it has to say, it's a difficult film. It's a film that exists on many layers, and and I think it has the advantage that each spectator can take from it what he wants, and it doesn't spell out messages. So, but I'm getting away from the question, so I'll leave it to Anouk.
Right.
No, but for me, I mean, as if you saw the film, my part is not so long, so the problem is quite different. I mean, I was happy to. It was much more easy for me. I just had to follow. And I tell you, when you're on the set with Jerzy, you follow or you're out. Because he's got such a personality that it's fantastic. I mean, you don't know what you're doing, but you know you're doing something you like, and that is the important thing. And I love being there. Because I didn't see the film, so I don't know what but I know that I love being there and working with Jerzy and of course meeting Michael again.
Mr. York, was there any problem for you with the accent? Was that easy?
Again, I enjoyed adopting a different personage. The same as one plays an American. It's fascinating to play a Pole, and we were in a very Polish situation because I was in a way the outsider because I was playing with Jerzy's wife and with Michael and with George, Jerzy's two children. Even playing at times in Jerzy's own house with Jerzy's friends. So in a certain sense, I was the intruder on the scene. I just hope that I've managed to fit in with this family ensemble.
Oh, you did.
Thanks.
Next question. Please wait for the microphone, because otherwise the lady who does the translation can't hear you. Microphone.
I asked Mr. York if he had contact with Jeremy Irons before making this movie.
But how he did the accent, you mean? No, this was a totally different experience. It all happened as recently as last November. Jerzy came to me, he said, I have an idea for a film. He said, if you're interested, I'll start writing the scenario tomorrow. He said, if you're not, we'll forget about it. And I had that immediate thing, that an obligation, almost to say, well, when do we start? Because you don't allow directors like Jerzy Skolimowski to throw away an idea. And I'm glad I said yes, it's been an adventure.
When did you start actually shooting?
I think we started filming in January, and we finished in Paris in the middle of February.
Yes, next. Nobody? Voilà.
Mr. Skolimowski, can you tell anything about the music in the film?
Oh, yes.
Well, the sort of effective answer would be the whole film is a music, or you can say the whole film is a poem, because you cannot put any conventional form of narrations of, there is practically no story in it. So I treat it as the kind of sound and images mind track or whatever, the diary with pictures and sounds. Therefore, the music is a vital part of the whole thing. I had the music. I heard the music before it was composed. I heard it when filming. I knew what I will find on my soundtrack when I was present there on the set when shooting the film. It's well, is that satisfactory answer?
I think so. Lady in the front row. Again.
Another question from
No,
Mrs.
wait.
Skolimowski. Another question from Mrs. Skolimowski. Most of the Polish films who were made after the war seem to be made out of a war syndrome. Then you and Roman Polanski were one of the first who made another movie with The Knife in the Water. And then you went on and you went to England. And now in these two films, Moonlighting and this one, my question is, are you having a syndrome of the present now? The Polish present instead of the war?
Sorry?
Well, I think the question is, most Polish film directors after the war were concerned with the war. Your first film was co-scripting Knife in the Water, and you've made films in England now. Is your syndrome not the war, but the present? I think that's the question.
Well, evidently, yes. You know, as I said, those last two films, as well as my very first movies in Poland, I treat almost as a diaries, really, or poems. I think that the word poem, although it is slightly pretentious, I think is a very good clue for this film. You cannot really analyze it on the storyline. It's this series of images and thoughts and sounds which in the end I believe make some sense, and it leaves a room for everyone to have its own understanding and recognition what the film is about.
I don't know if everybody's aware of the fact, but Moonlighting was not Mr. Skolimowski's first British film. The first one was a film called Deep End, made several years ago. Right?
With Jane Asher.
Sorry, with Jane Asher. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. And the late Diana Dors.
How did you choose the casting? Exactly. Why Michael York? Why Anouk Aimée?
Maybe I should leave.
No.
Well, in case of Michael, it was that since I realized that the film can be only shot with my own family in my own place, I thought that Michael bears certain physical resemblance to myself, and I thought it would be perhaps it would make it easier for everybody, for Michael, to sort of portray, you know, and for the family as well, to know that he actually is playing more or less what is my role in the family. Although I say it's the external looks which are similar. I don't think that the man, the character Alexander Rodak, portrayed by Michael, is myself. I was aiming for something more ambitious. I was trying to achieve a kind of portrait of an artist in exile, not myself. I think there are many Polish artists of many different medias. You know, there are composers, painters, writers, directors. Some of them working abroad, but there is a certain familiar symptom, this Polish disease, what I called, which has to somehow find the issue. Casting Anouk was, since it is a story of foreigners in London, you know, most of the main characters are foreigners, and I decided that since there was a strong French participation in this film, I thought that if I make the producer a French person, a producer who is kind of a boss for Alexander Rodak, I thought it would be a nice combination if it is a lady who obviously has her strength but also her weakness, and that could be nicely played with. And then the only person who came to my mind was Anouk. I couldn't think about anybody else. I just seen the image of black and white person as Anouk appeared in a movie. If you notice, she only wears black and and looks so nice.
Was the role that Michel Piccoli played, it seemed to many people, to be consciously modeled on Jack Lang?
Well,
okay, no, thank you.
The answer is simple, you know. Since we know that the scene takes place in February 1984 in Paris, since we recognize the place that this is Palais Royal, since we know that usually the person who gives the Legion of Honor is a Minister of Culture, I had to deal with the case. So I thought maybe if I do it in some kind of slightly jokey way, but elegant, I believe, that would serve the purpose. And I'm very happy with what Michel Piccoli had done. It's a superb cameo part, I must say.
Well, actually, Nancy is mentioned, which is where he was from, but Nancy was once sort of Polish, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. And Alexander Rodak was there 15 years ago.
Yes, ma'am. Wait, who's got the microphone?
I would like to ask a question about the character of Genio. Mr. Skolimowski, do you feel, or maybe you have another idea, do you feel that Genio is a victim of history or a victim of Rodak's egomania or artistic ambition whatsoever? Or do you have another view?
No, Genio is everybody's victim, really. You know, as you said, he's a victim of history. He's also maybe misused by Rodak. He's the only man who reappears from Moonlighting. You know, he was one of the four guys, the one with turn-up nose. And this is actually what really had happened to him in London. He stays there, he works as a moonlighter still, and he drinks, he waits for something. I keep telling him, go back home, you know, that there is no place for you here, but somehow he promises that he will, and he still stays. I thought that if I portrayed him as he is, maybe when he sees it on the screen, it would give him a final lesson that he really should go back.
Microphone in the front row, please. First, the lady here in blue.
Je voudrais vous savoir si vraiment pour vous la Pologne n'a pas d'importance.
Attendez, écoutez. Ah, vous l'avez? Bon, très bien.
Bon, je voudrais savoir si vraiment, j'ai vu dans le film une phrase, vous dites que la Pologne n'a pas beaucoup d'importance actuellement. Est-ce que vous croyez vraiment qu'on est oublié la Pologne en Occident? Puisque vous avez fait un film surtout pour l'Occident.
Question is, it seems from the film that you seem to feel that Poland has been forgotten by the West. Do you really believe this is true?
Well, isn't it? It's so obvious. It is. That's the truth, really.
What do you expect from the West, then?
I'm not a politician, you know, but what I read in the papers on those middle pages in the small print, it's not terribly exciting actions of the world, I would say. No, nobody seems to care, and nobody seems to be helping, really. So Poland is left to. Well, there was an enormous interest about Poland a few years ago, and everybody seemed to have the solutions for Poland at that time. Now there is no more solutions and no more interest, and the situation is still the same.
Okay.
Pour revenir un petit peu au choix des acteurs, comment s'est déroulé le travail avec les acteurs? Qu'est-ce que vous demandez à vos acteurs?
Question is about your choice of actors. What do you ask of your actors?
It's better to ask them then.
Okay, what does Mr. Skolimowski ask of you On joue le jeu.
No, you say it's much more.
En français? Oh. Ah, bien sûr, on avait un scénario écrit avant, une vertèbre. Mais Liegi a laissé la possibilité de tout le monde d'inventer sur le champ, vraiment de créer quelque chose inattendu. Et au début du film, on ne savait pas exactement comment ce film finira. Et moi, je trouve ça vraiment génial pour mettre en scène d'avoir assez de confiance en ces acteurs, de laisser aller un peu. Et parce qu'on a l'impression d'être vraiment créatif, qui n'est pas tout à fait normal. Et
Non, c'est vrai, il donne la possibilité aux acteurs de participer plus que d'autres metteurs en scène. Il vous laisse on participe beaucoup plus, on fait beaucoup plus partie du film. Il a confiance en vous, il a la sensation qu'il vous donne sa confiance, non?
Ah oui. Mais il faut dire que Liegi a fait la même chose à toute l'équipe. Au début du film,
ah oui?
Il a dit que nous allons faire une chose extraordinaire. Il fallait travailler les 24 heures sur 24 heures. Si vous êtes d'accord, allons-y. Sinon, il faut renoncer maintenant. Et même j'ai vu toute l'équipe qui s'intéresse. Ça c'est pas tout à fait normal aussi. Le cadreur qui devient surexcité, ce qu'il voit, qui commence à inventer des plans. Et vraiment, je crois pour faire un film en 4 semaines, comme ça, il faut être comme ça.